Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. Hopefully it's welcome back and you're joining us for second, third, 10th, 100th time. We love to have you. We've got 29 live broadcasts each and every week. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is the art of creating mental health wealth. And it's so important that we know that we are part of a community, that we belong, that we have a sense of purpose. We're going to be exploring these topics and many more on our show today. Let's welcome back the star of our show, who's been super busy doing charitable work for World Jenny's Day. We're going to find out a lot more, and then we will welcome our special guest. So let's welcome our co-host and star, Jenetta Barry, and the Epiphany Process. Hello.
Hello, Dr. JACALYN. It's so nice. I really missed our time together last week because I was in the middle of the bush, literally with absolutely no connectivity on my phone or even Wi-Fi. It was actually quite a liberating feeling, but I did miss our show.
I was just thinking to myself, that must be liberating to be away for a little while. So we missed you as well.
Yes.
It's funny because I feel like on this platform, I hear it over and over again from people. It's kind of like an addiction. People like love to be on the platform. I can't wait to get back. And when you get away for a little while, it's like, yes, I needed this break, but let me get back. So we're glad that you're here. And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what it is you were doing and how it relates to World Jenny's Day. And then we'll bring out our guest.
Yes. World Jenny's Day is a charitable day held every 10th of October in honor of my daughter, Jenny Barry, who died from suicide on the 10th of October after she and I had a really loud and large argument. And we found out several years after she died that 10th of October is World Mental Health Day. So now we have World Jenny's Day, using theatre and the arts to soften and normalize conversations around depression, suicide, feeling compromised, and those solutions. Rather than spending the day talking about how everybody is broken, we change the conversation and help people to understand that they're being naturally human. And theatre and the arts is the most wonderful way to soften that. And one of our fundraisers came about because I have a whole load of young clients I've helped through the most dire of circumstances who said, we love theatre and the arts, but we're great sports people. So please, could we have something that's to do with exercise and sport? And part of me, who's a ballet dancer and a performer, went, grown. Personally, I won't be doing that, but yes, let's do something that encompasses so much more than just theatre and the arts. And that's when our safari cycle through a game park was born. And I have to just share with you, before we introduce our next guest, who has been so closely attached to all of this as well as USA Global TV, that I arrived at this cycle, 6 days cycling through a Kenyan game park. I came through absolutely adamant I wasn't riding. I haven't ridden a bicycle since I was a child, let alone through a game park, although that didn't really worry me. But just, it wasn't going to happen because I hadn't got fit or anything. And I just arrived there and went, you know what, Jenetta? It's time you put your money where your mouth is, because I'm always talking about pushing yourself outside your boundaries and dealing with the fears. and the overwhelm. And here I am going, I can't do it and won't do it and don't want to. It's not in my value system. I'm running this whole story. And I thought, this is nonsense. I'm going to challenge myself. And I got on that bike. And I might tell you, I was the only one on a bike. Everybody else was on an e-bike. And they all did 300 kilometers in all over those 5 days. I managed 41 before I had to apologize for my butt, which was really in agony. And I just went, I can't do any more. And in fact, this week, I can feel the muscle fatigue because I didn't slowly train for this. But having said that, I am so delighted and inspired, and it was wonderful to be back on a bike and fabulous to be part of the team instead of being Miss High and Mighty in a backup vehicle behind everybody. So what an amazing feat we had. And I have to tell you, I haven't announced it on social media, but here's the first time I'm going to announce it, that the recipient of our amazing butterfly trophy, rainbow butterfly trophy, went to a 73-year-old lady who cycled 300 plus in that 5 days. And it was a no-brainer. We all went, that's definitely hers. And she was awarded it at the end of it. So it's been a most amazing situation and experience.
Jenetta, that's incredible. And congratulations on all that you accomplished, not only in planning this event, getting people there, but participating in it yourself. That's really wonderful. And I'm sorry that you're in a little pain, but it's a reminder of all the great work that you did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I must say, you know, just getting in and out or often on the bed, I feel like 150 years old. It's like, oh.
You can try rolling on and rolling off.
And it's not that they're sore. It's like they've got no energy. There's no, I've got no power in my muscles. They've gone. It's like,
They're going to come back.
It's getting better. And I'm going to get an e-bike. This has really got me inspired. So watch the space.
And thanks for the announcement about the 73-year-old woman. That's really gives you inspiration and hope. And it sounds like you have created this amazing community. That's what we're talking about today. So tell us about this fabulous guest you brought to the platform.
Oh, this guest I haven't known very long, but it feels like I have. And Dr. ANNELIZE BOOYSEN is the founder architect of Your Global Village, which really inspires me because it's a unique metaverse world community for global entrepreneurs who are using these changing times to grow their businesses and make a difference. And I came across ANNELIZE beginning of this year again through Woon. We've had Woon on this platform, on this show. Woon Tan introduced me to ANNELIZE and suggested that she and I meet up. And I got very specially invited to become one of the global citizens of Your Global Village. I've only recently joined up. And what an amazing, I mean, talk about art. That whole metaverse has been designed into a village. If you go onto the website, you'll see the artwork through IT work is outstanding, and there's still parts being launched. So it's as we talk about it, because I don't want to talk too much and steal ANNELIZE's thunder, but it's been an amazing experience watching that and being part of what they're creating there. It's outstanding. And because ANNELIZE has lived in 9 different countries in Africa, Asia, America, and Europe, she has been able to use her 25 years experience in business, her international life experiences, and a doctorate in economics to turn ideas into systems. And wow, what a system. And this system can deliver business outcomes. So I would like to introduce you to ANNELIZE'S Boysen. ANNELIZE, welcome to our show today. It's such an honor and pleasure to have you with us. And I'm going to hand over first to Dr. Jacalyn, because I can see she's going, I've got the first question. So over to you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Congratulations on what you've created. As I mentioned backstage, I went to your LinkedIn, I went to your website, and I was kind of like, wow, I am blown away. Can you please first share with us, what is a metaverse? What is it?
Yes, thank you so much for this warm welcome. And Janetta, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you and welcoming you to our village. And Dr. Jacalyn, thank you so much for this invitation and the opportunity to tell you more about what we do. So what is a metaverse? You probably have heard a lot about it in the news. And I think we can probably credit Facebook, now called Meta, for that attention that has been given to the topic. So what is a metaverse? It really is the concept of, it is the new iteration of the internet, and it is the 3D version of it. But much more than that, it is a three-dimensional immersive experience that really focuses on shared experiences and elevating how you interact with the internet and with technology. So it's a whole new, very exciting world that's opening to us, both as consumers and as business people.
Thank you so much for sharing that. How do we become a member? How do we join?
Well, we have a number of events that are open to guests, and you are welcome to come and join us for any of those to just understand what it is that we do. So as Janetta said, it is a community. For us, community is the thing, and the metaverse and the technology really is the beautiful wrapper around it. So we would like you to just experience how we go about building that community and how we interact with people, because it's all about the engagement. How do you take people into a whole new world? Now, if you've read anything about the metaverse, the starting point for the metaverse really is the gaming industry. Now, don't be worried that the metaverse is you're going to be having to live in a game the whole time. No, that's not what it is. It really uses just the fundamentals and the visuals and the interactions of it to transfer it into our normal real world experiences and elevating that. So if you'd like to join us, I would recommend that you come to one of our events and then book a private walking tour with me so I can show you around. And then if that's a good fit for you, and we really see you fitting in very well and making use of this metaverse for growing your business, then we'll welcome you to our community. So that's really what the process is to get into the village.
Thank you so much. It sounds like it's very cut and dry and understandable, so I appreciate that. So, Janetta, as you know, our program is all about mental health, wealth, and Annelize, you know that a community is a big part of what you're doing. So how do you pull those together?
It was very interesting when I started thinking about mental well-being and community. And for me, it comes down to the fact our village is primarily, it is a business community. It is a community for entrepreneurs who want to think in global terms. And that has very many layers. But just coming back to the whole idea of an entrepreneur, anybody who's in business would tell you, you experience tremendous highs and tremendous lows. And it can be multiple times of the day that you go through all of these. And that, of course, also then impacts on your mental wellness and well-being just physically as well. And that is why I wanted to create this community as a support system, because I found myself that being in business and being an entrepreneur can be an immensely lonely experience sometimes. You only have yourself and a small team perhaps to rely on. And even if you have a team, you as the leader always has to be the one that positive, and you really can, you're a go-getter. But sometimes you doubt yourself. Sometimes it's just challenges just too big for you to handle. And what is really helpful then is to have a community of people around you that get you, that's been there, that's been through that, and that tell you, okay, you know what, tomorrow's another day. Try this. Have you thought of that? And it's not as if it is a mentoring situation. It's just people that's been there, that are your peers, that can really pull you through. And it's not just for those highs and lows. It's also for when you really have managed to get to the next level, to celebrate with you. All of that, I think, has a great impact on your mental well-being, to keep you in that space of equilibrium, because it's only in that space that I think we can really dig down to create really big things in the world, if we are not sidetracked by our emotions.
Thank you so much. I love so much about what you shared, especially as an entrepreneur. There are highs and there are lows, and there are things to celebrate, and there's nobody here. It's me and this green screen. So I really appreciate this.
That's it. That's it.
I know when I was first venturing into all of this, the very first person that came to mind was you. And I thought, once I get Annelize on this program, you're going to love this. I think I even mentioned it to you back then and said, wait and see. And I can also reiterate that I'm part of many groups that are supposed to be there for each other and with each other. And they're in WhatsApp and they're this and that and the other. But there's something that just brings it so much to life when, by the way, Dr. JACALYN, my part of the village, my little posse where the Epiphany process and World Jenny's Day is in that village square, is house number 18. And of course, 18 adds up to 9. And that was completely not contrived. It just happened that way. So it brings what it brings what you're doing to life, because you can picture each other in that global village. You're not just a voice or a typed sentence, and it makes a big difference. So hands up to you, really.
Thank you, Janetta, and that is really part of the conversation as well. We've taken away I don't know if you want to call it the noise or the boredom or the sameness of our everyday lives, and especially during COVID, we all got so used to being on Zoom the whole time that we've created a container that is part fantasy, but also part very real business. And trying to combine those two. So the background that we've created, the village atmosphere and the village scenery and the visuals, are all there to really elevate you into a space where you feel you're in the same fantasy world, if you want to call it, as everybody else, but you feel comfortable there. You feel as if that is where you can really bring the best of you to the world. And I think that is really very important for us. Number one, to be in that same space with other people. So yes, we can have, different backgrounds, but do you really feel connected to that space? And that for me is what community is all about. I actually heard something that I thought was very apt for our conversation today. Oprah Winfrey said during all her years of hosting her show, the one thing that she saw was a common denominator for every single person was the need to be heard and the need to be seen. And in bringing our village into the shape that it is, which means it is a common area, it is a village, but you as an individual actually would have your own home, your own virtual home. And we call them merchant houses because we have a throwback from the past, when I believe that the epitome of entrepreneurship was the time of the merchant guild. So we assign a merchant house to you where you are seen and heard. And we design your interiors to reflect your particular three-dimensional brand story. So nobody else's house looks like it. It is your voice, it is your image, it is your story that we portray. But at the same time, you bring your story into a collective. And I think it's those two elements of making sure you are being seen, being heard, and then being part of a collective that really harnesses the power of many people and their creativity. That is the magic ingredient that I think is going to take us into the future. And I truly believe that for me, the metaverse is giving us that opportunity to create community in an entirely new way that is immersive and experiential, and it gives people ownership in the sense of I'm being seen, I'm being heard.
This is truly fascinating. I'd love to bring up your website if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Let me share my screen. And let's take a look. Wow, so cool. So I'm over here on your website. So just tell me where you'd like me to go.
Yes, so as you land on the website, you'll get this bird's eye view, the drone view of the village from the top. So then it takes you, okay, this is what it looks like. So if you scroll down a little bit, it will take you on a little walking tour of the village. So this is you walking through the village, and you can get a sense of, oh, this is interesting. I think I'm comfortable here. And we are very conscious about the surroundings. I'm a very grounded kind of person. I get my inspiration, my energy from nature. That's why I wanted to create something that I think most people can identify with, which is surrounding your workspace with nature. And each of these houses then belong to a different person. So, Dr. Jacalyn, if you want to scroll down a little bit more, that will give you, there we go. So that's Global Square. So they are going to be not just one of these villages, there will be 100 of these villages. And each of these villages would have the four corner houses, which are like the ancient walled cities. That's what we're basing this on. You know, like the fortresses, you come into a safe space. And these four anchor houses provide the structure and the processes and the facilitation. And each of the houses in between, you can see, belongs to a different merchant. So if you go, for example, to house number 6, or go to number 5, that is Woon. You know Woon. So you go to house number 5, where it says podcast publishing, and you click on that button there. That will then take you.
I'm sorry, I think I have to stop sharing and then share again because it doesn't let you.
It doesn't want you, do you?
Yeah, it won't.
So what that will help you then is play into this idea of, well, if I'm standing in front of the merchant house of Woon, what would it look like if I can look at his shop front and look at what his interiors look like? So if you scroll down a little bit, this is what we call the shop front, and this is, now I think you're on the wrong space here. This is our impact house. So if you can just go out.
Okay.
Go to her, there you go.
Okay. So I've got to go back because StreamYard won't let you.
Oh yeah, it's the same as Zoom, right? If you share something, you have to go out.
So I have to go back to the beginning.
Go back to the beginning. There we go. So click on podcast publishing. There we go.
Okay. So can you see it, or I have to stop sharing?
I see it. It's just not flipping over.
Okay, let me stop sharing and share again.
Share again, yes.
Share again. Okay. All right.
But as I say, the idea is that the village is now a collective of people, and you can go and take a look at what each person offers. So here's Woon, and this is what we call his shop front window. And the first thing that you see there is a visual. So I really believe strongly that visuals give us so much more information than just words alone. So we use the visual imagery to tell you, okay, well, this is what Woon is all about. And yes, he does use podcasting, but he does it for the particular purpose of sharing impact. And that's what we want to convey. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll get to know more about Woon. So we use his Wealth Dynamics profile, which is just a profiling tool. It helps us to kind of understand different people in the village. It tells you who does he work with. And then imagine what would it look like if you could step inside of that merchant house. If you scroll down, that gives you then the visual interior of his merchant house.
Wow.
And this is his three-dimensional brand story. And there is a lot of information in this. And when we do our housewarmings, whenever a person moves into this house, we do a full housewarming with the whole village and guests involved. And then I do a rundown to explain to you why everything is the way that it is, because it was chosen with a lot of intention. There's a lot of symbolism in all of this, because that is what a brand story is. It tells you what this person is all about, what their values is, why they're doing what they're doing, and what it is that they offer to the world. So this then is custom designed for each and every person in the village. And that's why I said just now, everybody wants to be seen, want to be heard. This is how you get to be seen, because this is unique to you. And just, maybe I can just focus on that image on the wall there. That was chosen particularly because of the fact that Woon uses storytelling to weave the strands together into a beautiful tapestry of impact makers. And on this wall here, this is just a sampling of all the podcasts that he has helped bring into the world. And there were many hundreds of them, and we just made a selection. You can also see that is his product suite that we have there. So this is really this is a new way of doing business. And my big vision is that the future of business is going to be in this kind of environment where your entire business functionality is going to run from this. So you go to your office on a Monday morning, you open your door, this is where you're going to go, you're going to invite your guests in here, you're going to be able to show them around, you're going to be able to, bring your accountant in, you're going to discuss your books, you're going to be able to do next level marketing, next level sales. All those things are being built into the functionality that we have planned for our metaverse world.
Wow, I am speechless. This is genius.
And if you go down a little bit, thank you, you can get a little bit more to about what Woon does. This really is just a very quick snapshot. This is how he brings value. That's a problem he solves. That is the promise that he makes, what he'll get you to, and that's the avenue that he will use. And then if you go down a little bit further, that is going to then tell you the 5 ways that you can work with him, starting with something that's just a taster for you to understand what it is that how he works, and then all the way to number 5, that is high-end products. So there's really a lot of scope for you to really understand what it is that he does. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, we have him telling you and talking to you about it, and that was done during the recording was done during his housewarming. And then we go down further and just tell you a little bit more about him. So what are the events that he's hosting? He had a salon for us in our village where he talked about the future of communication, and we use these salons. That's something specific to each person in the village to have that opportunity to do that, where we invite guests to come into that space, that new space, that merchant house of theirs, and they then do a presentation based on the value that they bring. So Woon is obviously, it's all about podcasting and communication. And he told us about the future of communication and how the whole idea of DAOs, decentralized, what is the naming, Janetta? I'll come back to it now. I always just go with DAOs and I forget what the acronym is all about, but it's the future of how communities are set up. So that's one of the things that he did for us. And if you scroll down a bit more, consider what if you sat down with him in the village cafe and, wouldn't tell me more about you. These are ways for you to just get to know him more. He has his own podcast episode, and he has, of course, also set up an entire podcast for us. So this is all just giving you background so you can fill in the picture to understand who it is that you'll be working with. And then, of course, you can just contact him through this to get started with the process. And we have this for each person in the village to really bring their stamp on what it is that they bring to the world. But also as a collective, we harness this and say, well, how can we use this together to make the world a better place?
I don't even know what to say.
It's genius. I mean, I actually was introduced to it just before Woon's launch party, and then I was at his launch party, and I went, this has been the missing, which is where I want to lead us to in the next question. Annelise, I mean, you obviously didn't have a dream one night and wake up the next morning and go, this is what I'm going to do. This has taken a lot of thought, a lot of planning, and I'm sure a lot of planning with a lot of other people. But where did you first decide that bringing in those visuals like that was the way to go in the metaverse? Where did that first come about? Where was it born?
Sure. And before I do that, okay, I've got the thought back. DAOs stand for Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. And that's a Web3 thing, which is a completely new conversation for us, and we'll get back to that. But back to the village. I think the village really was born from three things. It was a frustration, an observation, and an experience. The frustration for me was that as an introvert, somebody who is not really that outgoing, I always have struggled with the idea of networking. It just seemed so inauthentic to me. And, it's like you've got 5 seconds to capture somebody's attention, and then it goes nowhere. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if there was an alternative? And just having been part of other communities as well, I always felt that there was that next step missing. So the idea came to mind, well, wouldn't it be great if I could stand in front of a shopfront window? You can watch over my shoulders and look over my shoulders. What is listed in that shopfront to understand what it is that I'm about? And then you talk to me as the person, so that that real connection can happen without having to go through all those layers. So that was an idea that just kind of started, how can we do this? And that's where the idea of a directory, a kind of an improved version of a Yellow Pages started. Then COVID happened, and I started observing this real need between people, with people that I spoke to, for community, of wanting to be connected. And I realized that just having a directory of knowing who to contact is not going to work. There needs to be that real connection between people. So how do you orchestrate that? And then the experience that I've had, we have been to France many times, and we actually we're very lucky to own a home there. And we usually take our guests to a beautiful little village that is an ancient walled city, and it's actually known as one of the most beautiful villages in France. And what strikes me every time where I go there is you walk through that fortress area, the gates as you move in, and the immediate thing that you feel is that sense of safety, of you are connected, you're part of something, and that there's something around you that protects you. And I thought to myself, that is what community is all about. And that's where I started pulling on that thread. And we went through a few iterations, starting with very, very simple 2-dimensional visuals that had a fantasy effect or a sense to it. It had kind of a cartoony look to it, to take people out of their normal lives, to go into that fantasy world. And then it was actually Woon who showed me when we spoke about doing the podcast. I thought, well, you probably have to have a home. You probably have to have some nice background. So Woon, what would you like to have? And he said, you know what? I've seen something that's very cool. And he showed me an architectural model of a podcast studio. And I was just smitten. I said, that's what I want. That is exactly what I want. And then I started investigating, well, how do you do this? And I looked at what the people do it. I looked at architects. I looked at how they create the visuals. And then I went down this rabbit hole, and I started designing things, and I got somebody to design this for me in the 3-dimensional models. And the more I did it, the more I saw that I needed to bring the stories in of the people. And that is how the brand story in a 3-dimensional version got born. And that was actually well before there was talk of the metaverse. So I started with that, and then the metaverse came, and I said, I can bring this to life, because now we can actually create this in a space where you can enter and have an immersive experience with an avatar that is acting as your model, using your eyes, using your hand gestures, and you are going to be able to actually not just visualize yourself, imagine yourself in that space, you're actually going to be in that space. And that was just so exciting, because that brings together all the threads that I had in my mind for what should community be. And as you said, in the beginning, my strength really lies in taking ideas and building systems from them and creating the processes around it. And that's what we've created. We've created the container, the space that really brings people together. And then I stand back, because that is where the magic happens. If you give people that sense of belonging, of knowing what is the next step, they don't have to figure it out for themselves. They know what other people are expecting. You can just stand back and the magic's going to happen. And the magic truly does happen with the interactions, the support, and also another big thing that we are focused on is how do we use business to make a difference in the world. So everything that we do in the village is also linked to improving the quality of life of somebody in the world, somebody else in the world. And we do that in partnership with Business for Good, B1G1. So it really creates this common goal that, yes, we're all here to build businesses. Yes, we're all going to help each other to do it. And yes, we actually collectively have got the power to bring good things to the world. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
I'm still speechless. We have some comments from a Facebook user. Hello, thank you so much. This is fascinating and love the merchant house idea. And wow is right. So, as a follow up, we meet with you, you give us a tour and decide, hey, we want you in our community, or maybe it's not a great fit. What are the next steps?
Yes. So when you come into our community, again, as I said, you're never going to be left to your own devices. We actually have a 9-step process that you go through. We call it the village journey. And our team consists of a village manager, a concierge, and the village treasurer. And their sole job is to make sure that you go from step to step in the easiest way that is possible. So we get you started by doing an insider walking tour where you really get to understand the inside of what is available to you. So as I mentioned to you, we have those 4 anchor houses, and each of them is designed to also reflect what are the opportunities available to you. For example, our Merchants Guild is there to help you to grow your business. What it is it that you get in there is that is the space that's going to help you to design your shop front. We're going to use that to design your interiors. It has opportunities in there for you to set up your business plans and your strategic plans. It helps you to do an assessment of what might be missing in your business. It gives you a round table, which is like a group of advisors that are available anytime you need it. All those things are built in there. So this insider walking tour then shows you the inside of all of those things. And then from there, we take you to the next step, to the next step. And throughout all of this, it is a question of, if you consider it as different layers of immersion until you are really settled into the village. And we introduce you to everybody. We make sure that you make connections. And then we start where the magic really comes to the fore, of where we bring others to help you to create opportunities. And one of the magical things that we do there is a speed collaboration, where you would be placed on stage. You tell everybody what your business is all about, and then everybody sits around you listening, while at the same time connecting the dots, what you're doing and what I'm doing and who I know. And every time we do that, we come up with at least 15 new opportunities for you to go and explore. because we believe it's through the power of collaboration that we are going to really build our internal village economy. And we're very proud of the economy that we've built so far, which is really just 100% fueled by collaborations. So those are just two things that we do in that 9-step journey. But that's where what you're going to experience and what you'll learn during the process is how do you get from where you are at this point in your business to where you need to be 3 to 5 years from now, when the world has changed fundamentally in terms of how business is done, and particularly where your consumers are going to be. And we really truly believe in learning by doing, and by simply being in the village and being introduced to these new technologies, like, for example, smart contracts, how to use blockchain. All those things are coming into the journey as we unfold it for you. So it is really an easy process. And I like to describe as this is your bridge to the future of business. And it's a gentle on-ramp. It's not, a steep curve. It really is just gently getting you into that new way of working and understanding what it is that you need to prepare yourself for.
I have a zillion questions. I'm super excited. So, is there any way that a person can claim exclusivity? So you have a certain kind of business and you want to make sure you're the only one in that
Yes.
community doing that.
Exactly. That is something that we pay close attention to. When you come in, you actually select a niche market. And as I said to you in the beginning, we are planning to have 100 of these villages. 5 of these villages make up a county. And within that county, only one person per niche is allowed. So that ensures that there is not competition. I don't want to have an entire village filled with life coaches, for example. It doesn't serve everybody well. So we really went from the point of view, this is a business community. What would an entrepreneur need? And that spans not only what you need to grow your business, okay, I need to understand social media, I need to understand accounting, but what do you as a person need? And that is why we also brought Janetta in, because of her communication skills, but also to help people work through the mental wellness part of it. So that is what we really pay close attention to. And when you come in, you sign an agreement where you claim that specific niche. And whenever I then interview somebody else who comes in, and by the way, this is an invitation-only process, I make sure there are no overlaps to ensure that you have that exclusive right.
Okay, how do I get on the list?
Well, Janetta, you've got an inside track, right?
Okay, so here we go. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Dr. JACALYN, I'd like to introduce you to your global village, and Dr. ANNELIZE BOOYSEN, I'd like you to take Dr. JACALYN on a bit of a tour.
Of course, yes. So I think the next step would be simply, we'll set up a call and then we'll just have a discussion, because I'm very interested to know what your business is about. Because as I speak to you, I already start putting you in a speed collaboration. I'm thinking, how can this work? How's it? And if I come up with enough answers, enough links, then I know you're the right fit. Now, I just have to say as well, for me, our biggest asset is our community. And that is why whenever somebody comes in, I make sure it's going to be a good fit for the community. It's always about what is best for the group, as opposed to, well, I just need another person. So that is something that a lot of people ask me, is how do you vet people? And this is really what it's all about. If you're going to be good for the community by what your contribution is and what they can do for you, then it's good for everybody. And that's really our vetting process. So coming back to your question, how do you get in? You come and have a conversation with me, and you contact me on my email address there, or you can even go to the website and then just book a call there with me, and then we'll take it from there.
Fantastic. Well, everybody out there watching live on the replay, you're watching business take place right now as we speak. Connections being made, community being established. It's really super exciting. So there's so much more we can discuss with you. I hope you'll come back, come on our business show, come on any number of shows. I think it'd be great for you to get the word out about what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Would love to do that.
Thank you. And I will definitely be in touch as well.
I would love to invite you back on this show once my merchant house is in place, because we're still creating it. And then that would be amazing. So
then you can take people on a tour yourself and show them, this is me in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, this is very true. But it's just so wonderful to watch it expanding, and such an honor and privilege to have you here today on our show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You know what else I want to add? It's really exciting, Jeanette. We talked about getting together in person, which, I'm here in the States, you're there in Africa, and I'm thinking, I don't know, that'll happen some point, but now I could actually get together with you right there in your new home.
That is exactly it. That is the beauty of the metaverse. It blurs the geographical lines, and it helps you to be in the same space. It really gets you beyond the Zoom phase to, okay, let me immerse myself into being in that same space and having a shared experience with somebody.
Well done. Really.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. So for people who can't read your banner, they're listening on the radio, or they'll be listening later as a podcast. Can you please share that contact information that we have here on the screen?
Sure. I think the best way for you to go about it is to just go onto Google and search for Your Global Village. And then you'll get to our website. The URL is yourglobalvillage.com. Very simple and easy. And on there, you'll find a number of buttons that is going to help you to connect with us, to our team. And then that will get you in touch with me. And I'd love to have a conversation with you and just explore what is possible for you and how can the metaverse help you to set yourself up for the opportunities that are just around the corner.
Thank you again. I hope you already took your vacation and you're doing a lot of self-care, because I think you're going to be contacting you.
Thank you. Yes, looking forward to that.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely be in touch with you myself.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity today. It was lovely speaking to you. Thanks.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll tell you what, Jeanette, it's very rare that I see something that I am just completely blown away by, and this is it.
I just knew you would be. I just knew it. Because so often I see where your passions are and where mine are. And when this was presented to me, you came to mind. I went, I'm going to show you this one.
Well done, my friend.
Do you realize we haven't done our intermission because this has been so absorbing?
I wasn't even watching the clock at all. And our next show, which is your Talking Heads at your new time, is coming up. So tell people what they can expect to learn from you, and what is a talking head? Okay, so talking head, basically, I'm an authority in what I do with people, one-on-one and in groups and in the corporate environment. And we have a group of talking heads, people who talk from their place of authority and knowledge. And it's been a great honor and privilege to be on USA Global TV as a talking head. And today we're talking about embracing your deepest fears, and how we have fears that we don't even know we have, and how to embrace those unknown fears, because that's often what's holding us back. So at the top of this hour, I shall be presenting my very own show for half an hour, and I would like to cordially invite you to join us, or join us on the USA Global TV platform. Thank you so much, Janetta. And I, of course, will be behind the scenes producing the show. And I also have my own Talking Heads on Friday. So my mind is racing with possibilities from what I just saw. And I have to work all day, so I better write them down, because you better. It's like a pinball machine going back and forth. So, Janetta, can you please share with people the best way for them to get in touch with you? And how can they find your Talking Heads episodes, please? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Broke up. How can they find your Talking Heads episodes?
Oh, how can they find? Okay. All right. So how best to get in touch with me? There's two ways. One is my main business, which is the Epiphany process, which will help you to communicate without being distracted by overthinking or feeling over emotional. And that's the epiphanyprocess.com. But part of the Epiphany, we have two charities, and the one is worldjennysday.com, and you can contact me on either the epiphanyprocess.com or worldjennysday.com. If you'd like to get involved with World Jenny's Day, it's just the most exciting and inspiring day rather than a cerebral day of trying to fix people. And the Epiphany process, if you'd like to know more and have a personal chat with me, you're very welcome to contact me there as well. Talking Heads, if you go to usaglobaltv.com, there is two pages, the Talking Heads and Talking Heads 2, because we're growing, which is so inspiring as well. And if you go to Talking Heads 2, you will find my platform for the Epiphany process there, and all the recordings are available as well as if you go to USA Global TV YouTube channel, all the recordings and videos are there as well.
Thank you, Janetta. I appreciate it. And I'll let you go get ready for your talking heads as I close out the show.
Thank you. Lots of love.
Thank you. Lots of love to you. Bye. Thank you again to each and every one of you, whether you're watching or listening on the live or the replay. I personally do appreciate you, and so proud to be able to share this education that we shared today with our fabulous guest. So please do reach out to her. Also, our newsletter is coming out today in just about an hour. So if you're not on our list, please go over to usaglobaltv.com, subscribe. The name of the newsletter is The Global Post, and it's actually turned into a magazine, which is why I have acquired the Global Post magazine.com, and we'll be segmenting or switching everything over to there, which is really fabulous because it's an actual live magazine where we are showcasing our guests and our team members and our sponsors, and it's a lot more real estate for people to have to share what it is that we're doing. So again, please go over to usaglobaltv.com and click subscribe and get on the list. All right, we're signing off for right now. We'll be back very shortly with Janetta. Thanks so much. See you later.